Got a fabulous weekend. My little grandson is sick this weekend. He's throwing up and having diarrhea. It's tough for a little fella. He don't really understand why he doesn't feel good. Got to build that immune system somehow, though. So it's just a little stomach bug. He'll be all right. He can at least hold down some crackers and stuff. So, all right. I did make it to the movie this weekend. I saw Is This Thing On with Will Arnett. So it was the first half of it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the most boring movie. This is so slow. I'm going to fall asleep. And then by the end of it, it's a 2-hour movie. By the end of it, I went, I guess it was a good movie. It just didn't seem like it. You really had to go very slow. It's about a husband and wife and their relationship, and things aren't going so well. And he kind of wanders off and finds himself in a comedy club that has an open mic night, decides to get up there and do 10 minutes of open mic. And he basically is just talking about his marriage, and people are laughing. And he starts doing it all the time. It's kind of like therapy for him. It's kind of interesting. But yeah, the whole movie's just about his relationship with his wife. And it turns out to be a good movie at the end. I was like, well, it turns out I liked it. I didn't think I liked it as long as it was going way too slow, but only picked up. So, all right, so got some people with their cameras off. Class about to start. Just get the cameras on, folks. We're going to look at Buzz and see what our lesson is this week. I want to talk about last week, because last week, we got a lot of new folks in here, which is super great. We'll get you guys up to speed because we have been programming last semester, and a lot of you guys were in code.org, which means you weren't actively programming. So we're spending a few weeks here getting you up to speed on most of what we learned last semester. So last week in class, we wrote a program together and turned it in as an exit ticket. Easy 25-point start, because all you had to do is basically repeat what I was doing, right? And a lot of people already got 100% in the class. There were some people that were absent last week in class. They weren't here in class, which if you weren't here last week in class, the class video is in Google Classroom. You can still get those points. You have a 0 right now because you weren't here, didn't turn that in. Some of you have already gone back and turned that in. Some of you found the class video and did that. Nope, you're fine. I'm just getting started here, Shaylin. So some of you turned it in already. You turned it in over the weekend or Friday or some day after class last week, but it's still there. If you did not turn in last week's assignment, go back to Google Class. The only way you can do the assignment is to go watch the video, because I don't have the instructions anywhere else, because we did it live together in class. But that was recorded. I recorded class, so you can go back and watch the video and still do the assignment and still submit it in Buzz. Go to Buzz and save your file, turn your file in. If you don't know how to do that, you will after class today, and you can still get those points. Don't sit there and think, oh man, I've already got a 0. No, you can still get those points. Some of you were in class and didn't turn that assignment in, which I don't get. It's like, does that mean that you were in class like this? Yeah, I don't know why you didn't do it and turn it in class. There wasn't many people. There were a few. So that means you get to watch class again, because that's the only way to get those points back, is to go back and watch class, which, if you didn't turn in, you probably wasn't paying attention to class the first time. But anyway, today we do not technically have a lesson in Buzz, but we do have a lesson we're going to go over. And we got another assignment. We're not going to do this one in class. This one's for you to do after class. Turn in by Sunday. It's another program. Still very simple. It's pretty much like last week's, except do it a little differently. This week, let's pull it up and take a look. All right, so looking in Buzz, if we go to the grade screen, so here was last week's. It was just 25 points because all you had to do is just copy what I did. This week is 100 points. The 4.0 practice program assignment due July 18th. That's this Sunday. Due Sunday. I made the last one due Sunday, even though really it should have been due at the end of class, but it was due Sunday. July 18th, practice program assignment. So if we go back to the activity screen, open up module 4. There was the assignment last week. Here's the practice program assignment. Notice there's no lesson. Here, we're gonna look at that different. The lessons 2 weeks from now we'll do a lesson. Practice program assignment. Here it is. Pseudocode has been provided below. I've already written the pseudocode. You are to write a program using this pseudocode. So pseudocode is just a plan. Pseudocode is where you, in plain English, like just something that your grandma could read and understand what you're doing, we just write down a plan for the program. So I've written your plan. Here's your plan. Your program must follow this pseudocode. If your program does something else, you won't get all the points. It has to do this. Comments with name, date, and purpose. Define your main function. Print, welcome to my January program. Then you have to have some input. 2 input statements. One, ask the user what their name is. One, ask the user what they gave someone as a present recently. And then you have 3 outputs. You have to print hello and their name on the same line. Hello, Fred. Print, you gave a what? You gave a horse? You gave a pony to, whatever. And that's awesome. And then close your program. Then you're going to save that and submit that. So some of you are going, uh-oh, I don't know how to do some of that, or I don't remember how to do some of that, or whatever that is. That's okay. Today in class, we're going to review how to do all of these things. And most of all this we did last week. We did a lot of this all last week. But I want to point this out, especially for you new folks. In our Google Classroom, the Googly Classroom, if we go to classwork, up here at the top, we have the class lockers, which I haven't pointed out, but if you would like a locker to keep all your virtual stuff in, we have lockers in this class. I'll show you mine just so you know what I'm talking about. But what do you mean lockers? Yeah, you keep all your virtual stuff in your locker. Here's my locker. So basically, you can go to my locker and learn more about me. So that's what these lockers are for. Put stuff in there that you like, things that you're interested in, and so other people can learn about you. I need to update this picture. That's an old picture of my grandson because he's going to turn 2 in April. So that's an old picture. But I'm the bowling coach. There's the Triforce, if that means anything to anybody. There's Twice. Kite's my pharmacy company that cured my leukemia last time. There's my favorite movie, some foods I like, my books. Here's my favorite mathematician. Here's my autographed Heisman OU photos. I've eaten dinner in the Eiffel Tower with my wife. There's some of the universities I like or degrees from. Family photo, which I need to update that too. We just took some new ones. And Venice. I've been to Venice, loved Venice. But anyway, you can go and see what other people put in their locker. Like you go here, here's Jalen Price, a picture, things that are interesting to Jalen. Here's Cadence. Cadence actually went back to the building this semester, so she's not in our class anymore. But I may clean her locker out, I may not. Okay. The important thing I want you to do, and if you need to update your locker, do that. You need your name and your picture, so we know. Put a name with a face. We know whose locker this is. So put your name and a picture. It's Vivian. Vivian's in my programming 2 class. It's in there. Mia claimed a locker, but didn't put anything in it yet. So, but there are down at the bottom, there are still empty lockers down here. So if anybody wants to go claim a locker, feel free to claim a locker. And then if you go look at your classmates' lockers and you see something like you click on that and you go, oh, that's cool, and you want to leave a comment. Hey, I've got a dog like that too, or what's your dog's name, or whatever. Comment on your classmates' stuff that you're interested in. You may make a friend. You might find out, by golly, we love all the same things. So you can put comments on other people's lockers, just so you can make those connections. See what kind of things they're interested in, or fun stuff like that. So we do have the class lockers. I'm pointing it out. The other thing I want to point out, this is what we're going to do today. I have at the top Mr. Brock's how-to series on programming. When we click on this, it's going to take us over here. This is a YouTube playlist. There's 10 videos here, and I need to add to that because we're learning more. I need to add more. But here's 10 videos. We're gonna watch the first 5. What every program should include in programming. Print statements. how to write, run, and save programs. This one is one that I stole from our curriculum. These I made. Creating using variables, how to do input statements. We're not going to watch the one about loops and math this week because we don't have to do that in our assignment. Our assignment is inputs and printing, that kind of stuff. And I do want to show, I'll show you that after you watch the video. So let's watch these videos. We're going to watch 5 videos. It won't take long because the longest one's 5.5 minutes. So they're not very long. And then afterwards, I want to show you something in Google Classroom that can help you if you are still struggling after watching these videos. So this is a good review for everyone that was here last semester. This is good for the new folks so they know what in the world we're doing. Oh gosh, the longest one's only 4 minutes and 20 seconds. I was looking at the bottom ones. So, okay, here we go. We're going to start here and go through these 5 videos real quick. Welcome to this series of videos I'm making on how to program using Python idle. So it uses the Python programming language, and I want you to just browse these videos as needed to understand the different commands we're using in our programming class. So let's start with what every program should include, just the very minimum. So let me start with, where do you find our programming window? If you're in our programming class in Buzz, if you open up any lesson, not the assignment, but a lesson, here, Intro to Programming Lesson 1.01, any lesson, there's a menu here at the top of the screen. This is menu, notes, glossary, print, idle, Python API, reference. Idle, when you click on that, that opens up this programming window. From here, let's talk about what every program should include. First thing is we need the name, date, and purpose of your program. So in Python idle, you use a number symbol or the hashtag to indicate this is a comment. Python will ignore this line. It knows it's not code. And this is where you can put your name and then a hashtag with the date. Here, let's just say it's Christmas because this is my gift to you. And purpose of program, right? Whatever program we're writing here. Maybe this is program, 1.01 or whatever it is. Put something just to indicate which program you're writing and what the purpose. So those are required at the top of every program, just so we know whose program it is. The other thing you have to have is a main function, because Python's going to look for the main function. So we do that with a DEF, which stands for define. Define main, 2 parentheses, and a colon. This tells Python, here's where the meat of my program starts. So it's going to look for that. And then after we write our program in there, at the bottom, we'd have to have an ending statement to let Python know this is the end of the program. So you have define main with 2 parentheses and a colon. And then at the end, you just have main with closed parentheses. That's it. Now, when we run this, it's not doing anything. It's saying bad input because there's really nothing happening. So it's not going to do, because we haven't written anything for it to do. We've just defined our main function. So browse the other videos to see the commands that we can use inside of our program. Now let's talk about writing a basic print statement. One of the things that most every program needs is some way to display some output to be able to put something on the screen. And we do that with a print statement in Python. So inside your main function, which is where most of your code will be written, anything that's part of the main function, you need to indent. And I use 4 spaces. You have to be consistent and indent the same. I think it'll allow 2 spaces, but generally 4 is just easier to see on the screen. And you would use print, that's the command. And we're going to put parentheses there. And it's going to print whatever is in the parentheses. So let's say we just want to print hello world, right? Whatever, if we want words, whatever we want to print, we have to put inside quotations. Whatever I put inside those quotations is exactly what it's going to print to the screen. If I hit the run program, did it work? Yeah, look, there's actually 2 spaces there that it printed. But let's say we wanted to print hello world. So let's type hello world inside
the parentheses, and I'll take out those 2 extra spaces. So now this is what is inside the quotes. So that should be exactly what our output will show when we hit run program. There it is. Hello world. So we can put extra spaces in there just to make it, easier to read. Python doesn't mind if you add spaces before or after anything like that. But let's use another example to where we had a variable established first. So let's have a variable and let's call it name. And this is going to be equal to Bob or whatever we want to call it. If we're going to make it words, we have to put them in quotes. And we say we want name to be equal to Bob. And so let's change our print statement to be hello and a space. I put a space after it inside the quotes because I want to actually print a space after the word hello. And then I can say plus.
Okay, I'm going to pause this real quick. Pay attention to this. If you don't know how to put things together in a print statement, it's called concatenation. Concatenation means to put things together. We're going to print hello and Bob on the same print line. Now, that's what we're going to do in our program this week. Our program this week requires us to put things together on the same line like that. So you want to pay particular attention to this because some people really struggled with this last semester, being able to print things on the same line. And this will tell you how to do it. Again, this is on the how to print statements video. I think this is the second video in the series. So I'll pick this up again here.
Name. Oh, I can say plus name. So this is a variable that we have already established right here. And we've given it a value. So when we hit print, when we hit plus in here, that means concatenate. That means put together. I want you to take what's before the plus and what's after the plus and put them together. So when we hit run, let's clear the previous output. When we hit run, hello, Bob. See, and there's that extra space that I put right there. It actually printed the space after hello. Without that, if I don't have that space, when I run this, it puts my words together. So it's important to use spaces wisely. See, hello, Bob. Hello, Bob. Is that one word? Put a space in there and it makes it hello, Bob. And we can concatenate more. We can say plus period, because I put Bob, put the period after Bob. How are you today? For like, I'd have to concatenate 3 things together. So it's going to say hello and then whatever the name is. And then I'm going to print a period with some spaces and this phrase. So when we run this program, hello, Bob, how are you today? See, it's making a nice little phrase. And this would be real easy to just change the name. Hello, Sally, how are you today? So that's the basics of writing a print statement. Using text, we can just print directly what we want to print, or if we have a variable defined above, we can add that into our print statement using the plus symbol to concatenate things together.
Let's talk about how to write, run, and save Python programs with the built-in idle. You can access it anytime in the course toolbar. To start, use hash marks to add comments to the header, including your name, date, and the program's purpose. Now let's try writing some code. Starting on a blank line, define the main statement. This Python function tells your program where to begin. Now let's use Python's print function to display the string "Welcome to Python." Be sure to indent this line with 4 spaces or Python won't recognize it as a command. Finally, call the main function to run the code located in the main statement. When you select the Run Program button, the program will output and print "Welcome to Python." Now let's get some information by using the input statement. Under the first print statement, type the variable first name, then the equal sign, and then an input statement asking for the user's name. Now let's use this variable. On the next line, type a print statement that says, "Get ready to change the world." Then a plus sign and the variable first name. When you select the Run Program button, the program will ask for the user's name. Once entered, the program will store that data in the variable first name and then use it to print the string with the user's name. When you're finished, select the Save button to save your program to your computer's hard drive.
Okay, I'm pausing this again. Save button saves that zip file to your Chromebook, to your Google Drive. A lot of times students will say, "Oh, I saved my program and I closed my idle window, but I need to go back and change something. I need that to do," and they don't know how to reopen it. So it's like, do I have to type the whole program over again? You do not have to type the whole program again. If you've already saved it, you can reopen it. So pay attention to this next part, shows you exactly how to reopen the file and put it back into Python.
To double check your work, select the Choose a File button. Then select your saved work. Notice that your program was saved as a compressed file. Select it and the in-course idle will open your program.
Variables are very useful in Python because there's a lot of times that we're using the same number or the same word over and over again in our text. And so a lot of times it's very useful just to store it in a variable. And the way we do that, I have our main program here. Let's say that we want to write a program that does math. And so we need some numbers that we're going to use over and over again. So when we make a variable, we need to use a good name to describe what the variable is actually storing. So like this, we'll say number 1, because I know I'm going to have multiple numbers in this program. So I'm calling this number 1, or maybe I just type out 1 like that. Now notice I capitalized the O because this is taking 2 words, putting them together. We cannot make a variable like that because Python sees it as 2 different things and it's not going to work. So your variable can have all the words that you want to have in there. Number 1 to add together. You know, I can make that my whole variable name, but that's going to be cumbersome. If I have to use that a lot, I got to keep typing that over and over again. So that's why you don't have to put all of that, but it would work. It equals 63. And this variable now is storing the number 63 that I can use over and over again. But we don't have to make them that long. But if you do, you just capitalize each word. This is camel case is what this is called. We use camel case when defining variables. But the variable should describe what it's storing so that you can refer back to that and understand what it is. But I'm going to make this a lot shorter. I'm going to go back just to number 1, or I'm even going to just use the number 1. And then I'm going to have a second variable, and I'll call it number 2. And I'm going to just use 3. Okay. If I want a variable to have a word in it, that's fine. It doesn't really make it any different. Let's just say name equals, and the only difference is if I'm making it a word, like if I said name equals Fred, that's going to cause some problems. See, it says Fred is not defined on line 9. It doesn't, it thinks this is a command. If you want to set something that's actually a word, you have to put it in quotes. Name equals Fred. So exactly what's inside the quotes is what it's now going to store as the name. So if we run that, it's fine. Now it's not doing anything because we haven't told it to do anything. We've just stored 3 things. We can print these, print number 1, print number 2, parentheses, print name. And when we run that, it's happy. 63, 3, and Fred. It printed those. It saved those in these variables for us.
Okay, pay attention to this next part too, because this is an error that we forget about, and you're writing a program and suddenly you get this error and you're like, I don't understand what's going on. Python does not know how to print words like a string of letters. You take a string of letters like a word and a number on the same line. It's like I can't print numbers and letters on the same line. I can't do that. It can, but we got to use a little cheat command. We got to tell it, I know this is a number, but just act like it's a string of letters. And then if everything's just a string of letters, you can print that. Python goes, okay, I'll just pretend. So this next command will show you how to do that.
Now, the only thing is, if you are printing numbers and words on the same print line, let's delete this and just say we're going to print all these together. Name plus number 1 plus number 2. Then it has a problem because Python doesn't like to print letters and numbers together. So we have to tell it, treat this like it's letters. Treat it like it's a string of letters. If you use the str command in front of a number, put the number in the parentheses after the str command, it'll print them all. Now I put them all right together because I didn't put any spaces in between there, but it printed Fred, then 63, and then 3. But that's how we use a variable to store values, whether they're letters or numbers. Using an input statement is very useful because a lot of times when you run a program, you may want the user of your program to enter some information. So let's, for example, inside our main function, we want them to give us their name. So whoever's using the program, enter their name. So the first thing we need to do is, if they're going to input something, we need a place to save what they're inputting. So we need a variable, and we're going to call this user name. And notice this is the proper way to write a variable. If you have more than one word, you combine them. You don't put any spaces because Python will be confused if you put spaces. Variable names have to be just like one word, but I can put multiple words in there, and you capitalize any second and third words that are in there if you have more than one word. You don't capitalize the beginning. This is good code right here to use a variable name like this, username. And then I'm going to say, what is the username? And I said it's an input. And if I just do that, username equals input, when I run the program, this window pops up for the user to type. But notice, if the user doesn't see my code and this just pops up, what are they supposed to put there? 55 hot dogs. You know, they don't even know what they're supposed to do. Whatever they enter, it just saved it under username. So anytime you use an input statement, it's really good programming to tell the user what they're supposed to do when that box pops up. Please enter your name. Now look what happens. The box says, please enter your name right there in the pop-up. So this is good for the user so they understand what we're looking for. Oh, I am Mr. Brock. And they hit OK. Now notice nothing happened because we didn't tell it to do anything with it. We have only established a variable, and we've given the variable a value that's typed in by the user of the program. So if we're going to do something with it, generally you want to do something like, let's add a print statement that says, hello, and then concatenate username. And I have to spell this exactly the same. I have to capitalize the exact same things. If I put username like this, for example, when we run this, it's going to pop up and let me enter my name. And then it's going to say, uh-oh, username is not defined. Python doesn't know what that is. What is username? You want me to print it, but I don't even know what it is. A capital U is not the same as a lowercase u. And so Python sees these two variables as entirely different. So if we correct this to be a lowercase u, now when we run the program, Mr. Brock, hello, Mr. Brock. So that's how we use an input statement in Python.
Okay, we're going to stop there. The next ones have math calculations and loops, and we don't need any of that for this week's program. So I don't want to confuse you and give you extra stuff that we're not using this week. Just want to stop right there. So as a reminder, if there's any of those you need to review again, it's right here at the top of our Google Classroom on Classwork tab. Mr. Brock's How-To series. You can go watch any of those 5 videos again. If you're writing the program and get confused, those are available for you any time of day. So let's go back and look at the assignment again. Comments, name, date, and purpose. Define your main function. Print, welcome to my January program. So that should be printed on the screen. You have 2 input statements. Ask the user what their name is and what they gave someone as a present recently. Output should have 3. Print hello and the user's name, all in one line. And print, you gave a horse, or whatever they type in, right? You gave a new house to somebody? No, probably not. That's awesome. And then end your program. That's what's required. Now, I do have this. I want to point this out. If you are starting this and you're struggling, or you don't even know how to get started, and you're like, oh man, I thought I understood this, but I'm already lost. If you go down to this week's assignment in Google Classroom, do this week in Buzz. Here's a template which shows the same thing. I put it in Google Classroom as well. Next week, you'll need to use the template because there's extra work on the template that's not going to be in Buzz. But this week, it's the same thing. Here's the pseudocode, write this program. That's the template. But next to the template, I have what's known as a boost activity. This is an AI tutor that can help you write your program if you're lost. Now, if you know what you're doing, you probably don't want to use this because it takes longer, because the AI is going to keep asking you a bunch of questions and it'll take forever to get to writing your code. But I'm going to click on it and show you what it looks like. Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, I gotta sign in.
I love it. Okay.
You may have already done this. All right. Oh, allow cookies for whatever reason. Okay, so when you get here, you'll see this screen. And here it will have the template because it knows what the assignment is. It's right here. Over here, and see, I was playing with this earlier. It says, hey there, I'm here to help you work through your Python programming assignment. What part of the project would you like to tackle first? Do you want to understand the pseudocode, starting your code, or debugging something you've already written? And it'll read it to you. If you want to click that, it'll say it out loud. So I said, I want to start writing code. It says, great, before we jump in, let me ask you, have you written code before, or is this your first time? So it's going to ask you questions, and it'll help you whatever you're stuck on. And look, it even says debugging. So if you had already started writing this code in idle and you were getting errors, you can't figure it out, you can copy that, just highlight it all and copy it and paste it here and say, help me debug it. And the AI can look and say, oh, you forgot to put a colon here, or this should be indented 4 spaces. Or, so it'll help you debug your program as well. So this AI is legal to use. You can't use AI and let AI write your program, because for one thing, it's going to write things differently and it's going to be wrong. And I can spot AI programs because they do a lot of different stuff and they use commands we haven't learned, and it has a whole different format and it doesn't work in our idle a lot of times. But this AI here is good. It is legal to use in my class, this Brisk AI tutor right here, because it will help you. So that is legal. You may not need it. Hopefully on this program, you won't even need it. You have those little 5 videos we just watched. It goes over everything you need to know to be able to write this code right here. So when you get this written and save it, just go down to the bottom of the screen and attach the file. Give me that zip file it just saved. Attach that, and then don't forget to hit submit. You got to submit it down here. Once you hit submit, then I can see it. If you don't hit submit, it doesn't turn it in, and I can't see anything yet. I'm like, where's your program? I don't have it. Don't forget to hit submit. Just scroll down to the bottom of the page there in Buzz and hit submit. But you do have that Brisk AI tutor, and we're going to be able to use that the rest of the year. Every time we have a program to write, I'm going to give you access to that tutor, the AI tutor, that can help you if you get stuck. And I've got some of my students have used that and swear, they say, man, it is so helpful if you really don't know what to do. It's really helpful. And I had a student that, man, she used that and just loved it. She said, I wrote my whole, it was a big program we had last semester. And she said, I sat there for like 2 hours and wrote the whole thing using that tutor. It was awesome because she'd really struggled before that. So she loved it. So if you don't need it, don't use it though, because you'll say, oh, this is taking forever. Oh, I got to answer this question now. I got to answer this question. If you know what you're doing, fine. But if you're lost, it's great because it'll ask you questions. It'll help you and get you back on track. Oh, okay, that's what I need to do. Thanks, great. So that is there as a tool for you to use. So, all right. So to recap, you have last week's program that most everybody turned in. If you were absent last week, you can still go back, watch the class video, and turn in last week's assignment. It was an easy 25 points because we did it together in class. This week, we don't have a lesson other than those videos that are in Google Classroom to teach you how to write this. And so practice this if you are struggling with this and don't want to use AI tutor or the AI tutor you don't understand. I will be in class on Wednesday. It's optional. This week's optional. I'll be in class on Wednesday. You can come to class, say, hey, can you help me with this, Mr. Brock? I'm stuck, or I don't know where to start, or I'm getting an error, or whatever. Or just come say, hi, Mr. Brock. What's up? How's life? I'll be in class Wednesday. Friday, remember, that's an in-person day. If you need anything, email me. You can email me your code if you're having a problem with it. You just copy your code, stick it in an email and say, or save it and send me this file and say, I'm getting an error on line 10. I don't know what's going on. And I'll be happy to help you with that and get your code working correctly so you can turn it in, get all 100 points. That's what we want. We want to get all 100 points each time and get a great start to the semester. So we will have another program next week. We're not going to start our first lesson in Buzz until 2 weeks from now. Now, next week, Monday is a holiday. So there is no school next Monday. So we're going to meet on Wednesday. So Tuesday and Wednesday will be your classes next week. Since Monday is a holiday, get a 3-day weekend. If you get all your work done early this week, you can have longer than 3-day weekend, right? You get your work done by tomorrow or Wednesday or whatever. So make it longer than 3 days. But anyway, that's all I have for you today. Any questions on this? Everybody know what you're doing this week? You can go back and look at any of those videos anytime while you're writing this program. Hopefully that makes it real easy on you. I'm not trying to make this a hard program, just trying to make it something to get you in the rhythm, kind of get you feeling confident about writing some code. So, all right, guys. Well, I will let you go then. Have a great week. I'm here. Email me. Come to class Wednesday, whatever, if you need it. We'll see you next time.